What's up, guys? So you want to get into arm wrestling? I'm taking it that's why you clicked on this video. Arm wrestling to me has probably been one of the most rewarding endeavors that I've ever started. It's resulted in me getting stronger, setting and achieving goals, and meeting some pretty awesome people along the way. All right, let's get right into it. The first thing you need to know, arm wrestling is not just about brute strength. It's a sport that requires strategy, technique, and an understanding of your own body's abilities. You may hear more experienced people in this sport calling it pulling. The number one thing we need to go over is safety. You can't perform if your arm bends in ways that it shouldn't be bending. We try to avoid breaks at all possible. I'm going to go over safe positions. I should say safer positions because no sport is 100% safe and injuries can occur. You may have seen people in the comments of arm wrestling videos saying, oh, look at that guy, he's cheating, he's using his whole body. Well, those people are totally wrong and more than likely never competed. And if you listen to them and just use your arm like they said, you would probably end up with a spiral fracture.
He needs some milk!
And this probably comes from guys that used to arm wrestle in middle school during lunch and they just thought this is the way it's supposed to be. In reality, arm wrestling is more of a pulling sport than it is a twisting of the arm. This is not a be-all, end-all setup, and I'll stop at certain sections to explain why we're doing this. This is just a basic setup that I teach new guys that was taught to me by Gerald Johnson when I first started. So if you're arm wrestling right-handed, I'd like you to put your right hand on your left shoulder and then bring your elbow to the pad and open it up to your opponent. This will keep your hand inside your shoulders. This is where I'd kind of like to keep your hand during the setups while we're learning. So let's pretend that we have a blanket on. We would put it on over our shoulders and then we would stretch it out in front of us. This open area between your shoulders is where I want all your hand movements to be right now, especially while we're learning as a rookie. I'm going to show you the way your setup would be done if you were in a tournament. I don't see the point of learning all this if you're not going to actually compete, and you might actually find out how your friends have been cheating you when you guys have arm wrestled with each other. So with your right hand coming off your shoulder and opening up, you want to make sure that your right hip is against that table as close as it can be. When I first started, I was slowly drifting away from the table in competition, and top-ranked Michigan arm wrestler Daryl Ingersoll would actually kick me in the butt to get me closer to the table again. Your feet should not be together just yet. You're still going to have to learn your pulling style. But if you're pulling right-handed, then your right foot will be forward. I try to keep my feet a little wider than shoulder width apart. Depending on who I'm pulling, I might put my left foot right next to my right foot and lean. That way it puts more of my weight on my opponent that they have to hold. But if my tendons are not strong enough, then that doesn't matter. Some people will actually put one foot on the leg of the arm wrestling table to help push them. But starting out is so much to learn, you might not even notice what your feet are doing right now. Now that we got our feet in the right spot, now we got to do something with our other hand, and we have to hold on to this peg at all times. It is your choice on how you hold on to it, but one thing is you don't want to have your elbow flat on the table, because when we're going this way, it'll actually stall out our momentum. We won't be able to go any farther. Me personally, I usually have my hand in this position, so that way when I go, I can rotate around that table. So now it's time for the grip. I personally prefer chalk. I feel like I have better control this way, but it's actually your choice. And since I don't have anybody with me right now, it's just me, I'm actually going to demonstrate the grip on this glove. It'll actually probably be easier for me to articulate the hand movement so you guys will be able to see. When you're gripping up, you don't need to crush the other guy's hand. That might actually slow you down. So to be a legal grip, the ref will want to see both thumb knuckles, which will be right here. You'll see the ref put his fingers across and make sure that both of them are there. The ref will also make sure that you're not carving, which is putting a slight kink in your wrist to give you an advantage. The ref will also square your shoulders to the table, which means he wants them lined up with that part of the table. So he would want your left shoulder to come in, so that way it's straight across. The ref will also make sure that your grip up is in the center of the table. If everything looks good, the referee will say ready, go, and the person will try to immediately slam them to the middle of the pin pad. This actually isn't needed. You can pin them over here. In reality, you just have to break the plane of the pin pad, but there's more to it than that, and I'll explain. I'll show you one technique to get you started so you can practice. This is the same thing that I teach new people that are involved with the sport. Now, once the referee says go, you can cup your wrist in like so, which will give you the leverage advantage, but more than likely, if your opponent's skilled, they would do the same thing to you. Once the cup is set, you want to keep your hand and your arm closer to you so you can implement a lat drag. Be sure to keep your elbow in contact with the pad, otherwise it'll be a foul. Try to slide your elbow back on the pad, and this will pull the other person's arm farther away from their body, which will give you the leverage advantage. From this point, I want you to move as one unit. I want you to stare at your hand and do not look away. Most injuries occur when you look away from your hand and start pulling. That'll actually bring you outside of your shoulder area and give you the spinal fracture. So your body, when it's in unison, you have a lower probability of injuring yourself. So pretend that your hand and your head are locked together. If your hand moves, your head moves with it. So from here, I want you to slide your hips underneath the table. Make sure that your elbow is clear. And I want you to slowly rotate your hand towards you, so almost like you could be looking at your watch. Your head and your hand are still locked together and your hand is close to your body. Do not worry about the pin pad. I actually want you to bring the person's hand right here. Once your opponent's hand has broken the plane of the pin pad, the referee will stop the match and declare a winner. Be sure to congratulate your opponent, win or lose, to show good sportsmanship. Also, if you're in a tournament, be sure to tell the bracket keeper who you are and if you win your match. One important thing to do during your match is to remember to breathe. A lot of people hold their breath when they're trying to pull. This is just one of the many ways to compete in a match. There are so many variants that it's hard to learn all of them at one time. There's many varieties of the move I just showed you. There's a high hand top roll, low hand top roll. We haven't even grazed the surface of things such as hooks, side pressure, back pressure, and presses. Foot positioning, grip types, rising, and so much more. In my opinion, one of the best ways to get better is table time. You can watch all the videos that you want, but if you don't know how to use those techniques, they're no good to you. Try to find a local arm wrestling practice and practice with people that are more experienced than you in the sport. There's no substitute for real experience. Don't try to become the practice champ. This is your time to learn proper techniques and procedures to get to the next level in the sport. I think it's important to practice with an experienced arm wrestler that can keep you in safe positions while you learn. And if you don't know where to look for a group, you could go on Facebook, type in your state and arm wrestling, and you might be able to find something in your area. And the app ArmBet will find individuals that are interested in the sport that are close to your area. Stay safe. Always warm up before you start. Learn the proper techniques and learn to stick with them. Trying to muscle through with poor form is a common way to get injured. Listen to your body and give it time to recover. Get enough nutrients in your body to repair what you've torn down. I personally go to the gym about 2 days after an arm wrestling practice, and I'll do high reps, low weights, and that'll get some fresh blood into my arms. Your body will eventually get used to what you're doing and adapt to it. And finally, enjoy the journey. Arm wrestling is about more than just winning matches. It's about self-improvement, camaraderie, and just having fun. If you see any arm wrestling videos of me, win or lose, I'm smiling. I just love to arm wrestle. So keep a positive attitude, stay consistent, and you'll see improvement before you know it. Good luck and see you guys next time.